deep in my conscience. It was bothering me. It was not right. I needed a way. And my understanding developed when I started to become aware that the child comes with his or her vital state of disorder. The vital state of disorder does not define the illness. The child does not come with illness, but a vital state of disorder that will eventually, at whichever point in life, maybe late in life, maybe early in life, develop into an illness. It's that vital state. It's that yellow turning to brown area that we need to know. And what I came to understand is that we can go into the child using empathy. All we need is love. Using empathy as the medium to feel as the child. And then we can give the child speech where there isn't any. And that can start to bring far better results. This is the full brain, hence more human approach, using left brain for rational information, using that rational information to go deeper, actual symptoms that one can see, and let the process happen through visualization and questionings and feelings and those types of questions. Describing what the experience, going all the way to describing what the experience of the ailment is. Very much like in the blue slide we saw before with the 5 different examples. During this process, the mom needs to put herself aside. Only the child in the mind. And let the process of the child coming in. Basically just like the pregnancy. And the child can come in and we can give speech. And this was a couple of years ago that it happened in my practice. And the process needed several layers of refinement, but this was really a eureka moment for me. And then last year, all of a sudden, the whole ailment opened up. The whole understanding of everything. One by one. One child by one child. Not this is what every child needs. But the whole array of physical, emotional, and mental opened up. And this became very much easier to manage. ASD was not all of this whole huge thing. It became something very refined. And when there is refinement, there is really a lot of clarity. So this is another example of a differentiation of a common ASD symptom, abdominal pain. And these examples can go on and on and on and on because it's human experience. The first example, that what you see is the stretching, the arching of the back, so much pain. Sometimes constant pain. And the experience is that of twisting a cord, as if a cord inside, or being pulled. That relates to a remedy state. The state of the illness relates to a homeopathic remedy state. And the issue is to match the two. And when we do this accurately, which does not happen every time, if we do this accurately, the whole state vanishes. If we are deep enough. The first example relates to a remedy called Dioscorea. The second example relates to the exact opposite. If you see actually on the slide, instead of arching backward, it's bending over double. That means something. Everything means something. Nature didn't do something stupidly. It means something. These symptoms mean something. That's what we can do. That's what we can utilize at a human level, bringing voice to the child. Second example relates to colosynthesis. The third example to arsenic amalgam. The fourth example relates to euphorbium officinalis. I've been bound in a ball. It's like this. Everything is bound up. The fifth example, if you notice, I put it there just as a monkey wrench, because it may look like the first example, twisting and coiling, wriggling and twisting. You see? But that's what you see. But it's not the experience. See? It's great deals of differentiation. It becomes very beautiful. So as if the intestine were cut off. That relates to another remedy. This can go on and on and on. Human experiences. It's much more human, huh? So when we reach the deeper level, the deepest level, then I can recommend a remedy. And when we reach that level, generally there is a level of synergy either in the room or with the communication, because I don't necessarily see people in my consultation room. There's a deep undercurrent of understanding, like we've reached somewhere. We reached like rock bottom in a way. So I stopped the questioning, which some people will tell you is very much a relief. Especially when the person had no clue of what was going to happen. It can be gruesome for several hours to answer a question in a state that is not quite yours, you know? And if I'm in a bad mood, it even gets worse, you know? Give it to me! I want it. I really want it bad. Sometimes too much. So the reaction to a remedy, when the remedy's child gets better, hopefully, yeah, we all wish for that. There's a gradual improvement in the whole state of the child regarding peripheral as well as the core. All symptoms diminish in intensity or frequency, and this is quite the smoothest and least nerve-wracking reaction there is. And sometimes the core doesn't quite get better, but the peripheral gets better. And either one works for me. It depends then how it all develops. I prefer an amelioration through the core first, because it gives me greater confidence that we have the right remedy. Amelioration through the peripheral usually gives relief to the parents, but I'm still a little bit on the fence. And usually the one peripheral parents want or are looking forward to getting better, most of the time that's not the one that gets better. And if all the peripheral get better and the core doesn't get better at first, I'm still okay with it, because the core will generally follow. I'm generally not satisfied when only one of the peripheral gets better. Does not quite give me confidence. I like to be able to sleep at night. When only one peripheral gets better, I don't like it. Generally need to change the remedy at some point, either sooner or later. So with ASD, like I mentioned, one rule about ASD is that there is no rule. It is really complete disarray in many ways. Again, on the physical, emotional, and mental level. So when the peripheral get worse, that can be a good thing. Commonly, that's what what biochemical products try to do. But again, the core for me is really key. And the confidence that we have reached the core is very important. Reach the absolute experience of the ailment as a whole, using one symptom, because we can't use all the symptoms. Otherwise it would take a week to take the whole case. So generally I take one symptom, something that I try to pick something that is specific to the child, rather than the broad examples I gave, such as hand flapping or abdominal pain. I try to pick something that is specific to the child and go into that, and then deep. And generally it's like a hologram. It gives a slice of the whole ailment. It represents the whole ailment. And this is the result. I chose this case particularly because it is fairly common, or very common, for children to get better in some ways with supplements. And yet in this particular case there was still a lot of aggression in the child. And the aggression really means that the anchor to the core is still there. It can all still unravel very much. This is when I hear very frequently, he's almost there, So close. If we could get just one more thing, it would be good. Oopsie. And so here it is.
Benjamin was a happy baby. About 18 months, things started to change for him. He would bite, he would scratch, he would pull hair, arch his back. When he would get mad, he'd throw his head back and into anything. The older he got, the more worried about his future that I became. I started looking into diet. So then once we put him on a diet and some supplements, he got a lot better. He was behaving better, and he was still not too great around other kids. So we still had that issue where we still had some aggression. He was not reading, he wasn't writing, he wouldn't sit still, he would wander around the room when the teacher was trying to teach. So we had a lot of issues still, even though we saw great improvement with the things that we were doing. So I started looking into another sort of therapy, something that would take us closer to recovery for him, and that's when I read about homeopathy and Pierre Fontaine. There was something about Pierre and something about the homeopathy that just seemed like it was something that would take us one step closer to where we wanted to be. We saw an improvement right away, and the gains that we saw never faded. He continued to improve. With every dose we gave him, we got to know him, the real Benjamin, more and more each time. He was able to make friends easier. He was able to play soccer for the very first time he's ever, participated in an actual game with the other children, and not, didn't attack them like he would normally before all of this. It has been the fastest, most effective treatment that we've ever tried with him. We finally feel like he has a future. Now I can breathe, and I can feel like my son is going to be okay finally. He's reading, he's writing, he's participating, has friends, he's social, he's healthy. And I'm so grateful to Pierre. And so for anybody out there wondering, it's possible.
It's possible. One remedy, one ailment, one child. Some of you, a lot of you missed the first video I played, so we'll play it again. If it works, because this one didn't go into.